And honestly, with this movie, I cannot unsee this right here.
I am
Santa Claus,
and I'm in charge of this detachment. No, I'm
Santa Claus,
I am
Santa Claus, Santa Claus,
So, who's the real
Santa Claus.
I am.
Hey there guys, how are you? Welcome back to another awesome video, and today's movie review is going to be of The Santa Claus 2. So The Santa Claus 2 is the sequel to the Disney Christmas classic starring Tim Allen, and this time around we have Scott Calvin, aka Santa Claus, in search of the love of his life, in search of a wife. If he doesn't find the love of his life, he no longer ceases to exist being Santa Claus, so he's out there searching for his woman, and as a clone of Santa Claus is taking over the North Pole, and the de-Santification process begins. So this movie is directed by Michael Lembeck, or Lembeck. All I know is I had to look up this guy's name. I'm not too familiar with his directing or anything associated with him other than this film, and I gotta say, let's talk about this movie. But before we talk about this movie, I do want to add some context. So recently I was watching the first Santa Claus after so many years. I hadn't seen it in a while, and it was just on television, and the Santa Claus to me is one of my favorite, like probably top 5 Christmas classics to watch yearly during the holidays and stuff like that. And it's just one of my favorites, in my favorite Christmas movies, one of my favorite Christmas classics, all that stuff whenever I think of Christmas movies and Christmas classics. And so I was rewatching it, and as I was about to rewatch it, I was worried that, oh, maybe this wouldn't hold up as well, or maybe this didn't age as good because maybe the writing didn't age as good. The time period that this movie was made was around the 90s, so maybe some 90s things kind of don't work nowadays, maybe due to the fact that I'm a little bit older, so some of the stuff may not be as good, or maybe this is the type of movie that really doesn't work or really isn't that enjoyable in 2022. But then I was like watching it, and as I finished the movie, I thought, you know what, I was like, this is still a good movie, this is still a good classic, it's still an enjoyable film. However, the sequel was the worries I had for the first movie. Before we get into the negatives, let's get into some positives about this movie, and one of the big positives is the acting. The acting, I think, is fine. I think it's great. I think it's good, with Tim Allen as Scott Calvin, aka Santa Claus, and you really do feel for his dilemma in this circumstance that he has. And yes, I know the premise is very cheesy, but you do feel bad for him, because if he doesn't find his woman, the person he wants to marry, ASAP, he starts to have this thing called the de-Santification, where he's no longer looking like Santa Claus, and that means that the Christmas spirit can go away, and the children, the toys, and the magic of Christmas could all cease to exist, and all that. So I think he really, you really feel bad for him in this situation, and I think he just does a great job as this character, and there's just many little features that he does that just show he's such a good Santa Claus. The family, their acting is fine, the elves are fine, some of the other characters and actors and actresses that appear in this movie, I think they do a fine job. The actress who plays Carol, I think she does a good job as well. She plays Scott's love interest and also the principal at Charlie's school. So, I think the romance between her and Tim Allen, I think they work great. I think it's kind of cute. I think it's kind of very genuine, kind of heartwarming how Scott uses his magic, because he has this magic watch he has, and there's a very limited amount of magic he can use, but he uses this magic, which it's very sweet, but it's very risky, that he uses his Christmas magic to kind of not woo her over, but kind of get her in the feel, get her into the Christmas spirit, and sometimes plus get her into that mood, because Christmas is occasionally it's a very romantic time for many reasons, for many cases, whether it's love is in the air, or you're in a strong relationship with somebody, whatever the case is. Christmas is a perfect holiday to do stuff with loved ones, so your significant others. He uses his magic to kind of get her in that mood, and I think those moods are very sweet, and they're very heartwarming, and they're very heartfelt. And some of the other stuff that he uses as magic for, I think, is just comes off very genuine. And I think one of my favorite scenes in this movie that just comes off very fun, very funny, very genuine, very heartwarming is during the Secret Santa scene, where there's a teacher meeting or a faculty meeting going on, and all of a sudden he starts pulling out presents under the tree or behind the tree, and they're like, they wind up being toys for these teachers and faculty members that these were old toys that they wanted as kids and childhood toys, like things like Rock'em Sock'em and Toss Across, and it just comes off as just a really nice scene. I think it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. The comedy at times, I think it works very fine, but honestly, with this movie, I cannot unsee this.
I am
Santa Claus.
and I'm in charge of this detachment. No, I'm
Santa Claus.
I am
Santa Claus. Santa Claus.
So, who's the real
Santa Claus.
I am.
But we'll get to that a little later. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about this now. Let's talk about this right here and right now. So I don't know what it is with Disney having Tim Allen doing dual roles. Yes, I think it was hilarious in Toy Story 2 because that worked off very perfectly, but I don't know what it is with Disney having Tim Allen do dual roles and Disney going, hey Tim, you remember how we did that scene in Toy Story 2 where you were playing another Buzz? What if we did that for you, but as like this toy clone Santa Claus? I don't know why, I don't know what, if it's like a running gag with Disney and Tim Allen, or maybe it's just irony and it's just a coincidence that I picked up on, and maybe did anyone else pick up on this coincidence? Let me know in the comments. But like, this premise and this portion of the film is hilariously stupid, yet stupidly hilarious. Just, this is the part that just didn't age well for me. Like, just the way the way it's edited, the scenes and the writing and the makeup on the toy Santa just kind of really doesn't work for me as much as it used to. Like, I mean, there's parts where he kind of is somewhat, I guess, intimidating, because eventually he winds up having this like weird twist in his head where he starts to think that, oh, there's so many naughty kids out there and they do XYZ and ABC and all sorts of other bad stuff because kids are bad, so let's not give them toys at all this year. Even though the elves are kind of like, well, not all kids are bad, but not all kids are good, but people make mistakes, and pointing out that little message. And then he's just like, no, we're not doing anything like that. We're just gonna give them all coal, and they're not gonna get anything good this year, and because kids are bad, kids are naughty. So he kind of becomes like a villain a little bit, and it kind of it comes a little like, it comes off just very just ridiculous, but also like there's very slim intimidation in him, but it's just very just, some of the things just don't work for him when he's playing that Santa Claus. But when he's playing himself as Scott Calvin self, that works fine. But this Santa just kind of, like, I laugh at how just he kind of is a little bit funny, and it kind of is funny to like look at and watch, but it just doesn't, it works, but it doesn't work for me. So I'm very 50-50 on it. And some of the other choices in this film, like subtle little tiny nitpicks that I have about it, and some of the visuals really don't hold up as well, and some scenes don't hold up as good and aren't as funny as you remember. And this was, like I said, the stuff that I was worried that the original movie was gonna have problems with. I wound up looking at and seeing the sequel has this kind of issue. And I don't hate this sequel, it's just like, I remember loving this a lot when I was younger, but seeing it now, it really is not as great as I remember it. It's just kind of very just, it's not great, but it's not horrible. So I think I'm going to give the Santa Claus 2, I'm going to be a little nice and say I'll give it a C, just a solid C. So the Santa Claus 2, have you guys seen it? What did you think of it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please smash the like button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I do awesome videos every day, if not a week. Make sure you ring that bell to new videos every day, if not a week. Share the video with your favorites, all that good stuff and more. Leave a suggestion in the comment section. You name it, I'll look into it as best as possible. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, or a Happy Holidays, or whatever you celebrate. Or if you don't celebrate anything, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And this will probably come to you guys either on Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day, because scheduling kind of got a little weird, because I originally planned to have done this 2 nights ago, but I didn't get that opportunity to do this review 2 nights ago, so this will probably come to you maybe Christmas Eve, maybe even Christmas Day. This will be the first time I'll actually have something up for you guys on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. But I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas for those of you that celebrate Christmas. If you guys celebrate any holidays, or if you have a Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, whatever it is, let me know in the comments as well. Or if you don't celebrate anything, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and look out for my best movies of 2022 and the worst movies of 2022 sometime next week. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.